do recording again. So with Teams, now that we're moving everything into one place, I think that it might be a good idea for you guys to set up notifications. So that if I am sending out an announcement, or if I am sending out a text to you, then you get a ping and you know that I'm reaching out, rather the way you would with email. So if you don't have that set up yet on your computer or your phone, I'd suggest that you do, that you take care of that so that we can have a really more productive conversation. So anybody having trouble with Teams kind of figuring it out? There are a couple of small tasks that I'll get you to do on Teams for this week, but otherwise, everybody have a chance to poke around and explore things down there? Okay. All right, good. So the announcements. So I made put a couple of announcements up there. You saw what those look like, right? So they come up with a big kind of loudspeaker icon, right? So one of the announcements was about the Open Lab Night, or what used to be called Open Lab Night. Just to give you a little bit more background on that, what happens is the university, the college, actually the College of Sciences and Math, puts on an outreach event to the community. And in the past, when we actually had a physical open doors night in October, we would have 500, 600 families come into the building and do experiments and engage in STEM related activities and learn and just explore. And it was always really a lot of fun. So the question this year was, how do we do this virtually? So instead of doing one night, what we've done is we've looked at how do we create, align with the STEM week in Massachusetts, and how do we create activities for students to engage virtually in for STEM week. So it's going to be in October. I've proposed an activity already that I'd like to do, and if anybody wants to join me on that, I'm looking for students to collaborate with. So, and the activity is going to be on a sundial. The idea of kids taking a pencil or some kind of a stick and sticking it into an Amazon box or something like that, and actually playing with how do you make the best sundial and how do you read that sundial, right? So based on experimentation and observation and creating that, and also thinking, well, what is it? Should it be flat or should it be vertical on a wall? And how does that affect the actual instrument of the sundial? So the idea would be to create a short experiment for the students, to give them to create some pointed questions, food for thought questions, and then to put it on an online format called Sway, which is connected to our team's work here as well. So if you're interested in joining me on that, I'm looking for some people if we have to collaborate with. If we have a lot of interest, what I may do is think of another activity that we can do with the kids as well, or if you have an activity that you want to do, that's great too. So just reach out to me and suggest if that's something that you're interested in doing. In terms of whether this is going to count towards the course in any way, I am certainly open to the discussion depending on how many people decide to participate in it. It could replace one of the video explanations or one of the assignments that we have going on, but somehow I can certainly make this allow this to contribute to a course grade. So if that's a factor in your decision, we can certainly have that conversation and make sure that we're all happy with the outcome. Okay, because this is certainly going to give you the opportunities that you would benefit from in the future as you're teaching, especially considering we're all virtual. So we got to learn how to do this online with students. So, all right, any questions on that, on the Open Lab Night idea? All right, so I'm going to ask that if you are interested in it, then reach out to me by the end of the week and let me know so that we can start working on the project. All right, textbooks. So the textbook, I just wanted to get a show of hands. So can I get a show of hands for who got the electronic book through my math lab? Okay, All right. And who ordered the loose leaf and already got it? So who's got it in your hands? All right. And who's still waiting? Okay, a few of you. Okay, good. All right. So, and otherwise, did I miss any other options? Got the textbook somehow else? That's fine too, as long as it's in your hands already. But let me show you what we're going to do in the meantime. Just give me 1 second here. Oh. Yeah, kiddo, I'm in a meeting. Difference? I think, well, why don't you try to figure that out?
Like a difference of 1 means both numbers subtract 1. What does that mean?
Okay, can we talk about that later? No? A difference is how far two numbers are from each other.
Like 5 minus 1 equals 1.
Hmm. All right, hold on. Let me get back to you guys. Oh, can you see my screen? Can I get a nod? All right. Okay, so this is our teams. This was the announcement that came out on the Open Lab night. This is the announcement that came out for the course. What I wanted to show you about the textbook was under Files. You have 2 folders now, Textbook and Handouts. Under Textbook and Handouts, you will see that I've uploaded, as soon as it loads up, Chapter 1, Text and Activities, and Chapter 2, Text and Activities. It is not unusual that some students get to wait a little bit longer for their textbooks to arrive, and I don't want that to slow us down. So I wanted to post those first 2 chapters up there so that even if you're waiting for a textbook, you can just open it up. And so if we go here, for example, I've opened up the activities. This is what activities look like, and we'll be working through those starting next week. Okay, but if you don't have the text yet, so this is certainly where you can find those files. Now, activities, for those of you guys that have the e-copy through the My Math Lab, I'm going to continue posting the activities here, because I believe My Math Lab lets you annotate or take notes in that system, but you don't get to keep your notes. Okay, I think that once your license runs out, then the access runs out. So if you want to print these out, the activities, you're welcome to do that and then take notes on your paper, or like put it on the iPad and take notes electronically, but something that you can keep, so that you can have that for when you're doing block or any other courses, or 113, 114. Okay, good. Any questions on, let me stop sharing this. Any questions on textbook access? Everybody good?
Sorry, I actually had one question.
Yeah, please, Jasmine.
I'm having a lot of trouble logging into my Pearson. I've like contacted them. Should I go to like the IT department here and see if they know anything?
How did you contact them? By phone or chat?
Yeah, by chat.
Chat. Okay. Chat is usually the best way to do it. And but you bought an electronic, or you want a loose leaf?
I bought an electronic.
Aha. So in that case, you do have to work with them and try to figure that out through Pearson. I don't think our IT would be able to help, because it's an internal thing with them. Usually they do figure things out. And even if it's by, setting up a brand new license for you, but they do figure things out. If you continue to have trouble past this week, let me know, and I'll reach out to my rep through Pearson, from Pearson, and then we'll try to figure that out from both directions.
Okay.
Okay, so keep in touch. Yeah. Anybody else with text access questions? Okay. All right, so let's talk briefly about the tasks for last week. So I'm going to go back to screen share with you guys. And share, there we go. Now, if I go into assignments, right? So last week we were focusing on this and trying to, oh, never mind, on this and trying to get the scavenger hunt done. Now, Everybody submitted everything. That's wonderful. I've replied back. I've graded it. Some of it is automatically graded. Some of it is done by hand. So, and I've what's called returned the assignments to you. If there's anything that doesn't make sense, like for some reason a grade is missing, it's probably a technology glitch. Just let me know and I will change it. My intent for this kind of work, for the scavenger hunts or the assignments for each week, is that I'm gonna, it's more, I'm seeing it as tasks to engage in and for experience. So I'm not going to be grading this on accuracy or correctness in terms of mathematics. I'm just looking for completion here. So it's what the purpose of these kinds of assignments is going to be to keep you guys on track, going through the videos, the lectures, etc., the activities that I need you to go through. Okay, so this is going to, so next week we have what's called fall 2020 week 1 classwork. It's going to look something similar. It's going to be an assignment looking thing. All right, that will have check boxes of things that you need to do for this week. I'm going to try to keep to one of these kinds of checkbox or to-do lists for each week. So in order to make sure that you're staying on track, you're going to have to go to assignments, open up the assignment for that week, and just work your way down through this form. Okay. Sometimes you'll have to go and link to something else like Edpuzzle. That's fine. But once you're done with that, you check it off and you're done. Okay. So there are two things that I wanted to make sure that I communicate to you. One is that I intend for this to allow resubmits. So if for some reason you want to resubmit and it's not letting you, that's a glitch. It's not by intent. So make sure that you reach out to me, okay? My intent is to say, yeah, sure, you want to submit this and then you realize that you figured out how to do something else, great, come back and resubmit it, okay? It's just to keep us on track. The other thing is that I will assign a due date for all of these assignments, and that'll be Sunday night at 11:58 every week. Okay, so this week's will be due Sunday night at 11:58 p.m. Next week's will be due the following Sunday night at 11:58 p.m. The purpose for me to doing that is to keep you, to prioritize things for you as we go along. Okay, so that you know kind of what's coming up next and what you need to do. If for some reason you realize that life happened and Sunday, the week didn't work the way you wanted it to, and you're unable to get this done by Sunday, my focus is on you getting it done. All right, so just keep working on it and submit it when you are able to, even if it's late. Okay, the deadline is kind of a sign for you as to when I think it should be done, but I will be accepting things late. Okay, so that's our kind of our coursework idea. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? Okay, I'm looking down because now I see you guys down here on my second screen while I'm screen sharing. All right, so there are a couple of things that I just want to make sure that you know how to do on Teams. So play with that, check them off once you figure that out. If you can't figure it out, then on the Glitches and Life Hacks channel, I've uploaded a couple of instructional videos, very short, like 1 or 2 minutes long for each one of these things. So just figure out how to do that. The Edpuzzle now has 3 videos. So you can go to Edpuzzle and complete the Dr. Deborah Ball video, Alexandra King video, and Terry Jones. Hold on, kiddo. Is it? Yes, you can. So once you do that, you can check those off. And then there are 2 articles that I would like you to read. I'll show you where they are. They're in the course articles folder. One of them is about content knowledge for teaching, and again by Deborah Ball, and she talks about these 6 kinds of 6 kinds of knowledge that's required to be a good teacher. I want to make sure that you can understand, you understand each one of those, right? And the differences between them. But I really would like you to just, in your own words, describe the horizon content knowledge and specialized content knowledge. Okay, those are the two things that we will be focusing on. So you notice that a lot of these things I'm asking you to do, and the only feedback I need from you is to say, yeah, I've done it. I feel like I understand it, right? And check that off. That's my feedback that I'm going to get from you. I'm not at this point saying, well, show me, or prove to me that you understand it, right? Because there'll be other ways in which you'll be able to show me that. But at this point, I need you guys to take the responsibility to make sure that you do. And if you don't understand, if something doesn't make sense, ask. And ask either as a chat, or ask during drop-in hours, or by appointment, however you want, or work together to figure it out as well, right? But it's kind of, responsibility is on you to dig in deep enough to make sure that you feel comfortable with that understanding. With these two things, I want to check in on that, and just kind of in your own words, I want to actually ask you to formalize those two things, the horizon and the specialized content knowledge. And it's going to be similar with this 4 different types of knowledge: factual, conceptual, procedural, and metacognitive. There's an article that I'd like you to read, and make sure you understand these. And then in your own words, describe the procedural and conceptual. Okay, for here. Now, once, and then this question is always going to be on these. If you have any burning questions, concerns, or anything like that, you can ask. So let me, before I get back to away from screen sharing, let me show you where the articles are. So under files, it says MATH112 honors course articles. If you click there, you'll see the 2 articles that I mentioned in the assignment. Okay, so let me just stop sharing here and just ask for questions. Anything that isn't making sense, right? So every week, I'm going to try and keep it to one, what's called quiz, or under the assignments tab, right? One of these checklists, to-do lists, where you can go to and work your way through that. All of that can be done asynchronously on your own time. You want to do it together with your colleagues from the class, that's totally fine with me. You can do a little bit out of order, that's completely fine with me. You can, if something doesn't make sense, you can reach out to me or to each other by text, or by actually, doing virtual meetings together. Okay, but that stuff is the stuff that I'm kind of expecting that you do on your own, kind of self-motivated. Okay. All right. So we will meet every Wednesday for now, right? Eventually it will change to Mondays, but every Wednesday here through Zoom. And I will fill you in on kind of the plan for next week. Okay. So just like I just did now. Once we start get into context, into content, I'll also ask you questions. Like, we'll be having discussions about the math education or content, or anything you learned, or anything you want to talk about, okay, here. So we have a scheduled time here that we're meeting. And in addition, I just wanted to make sure that that I was clear. So there are also the Monday and the Friday right now that you can get live human interaction with me if you would like. But you actually need to come to it on your own, of your own accord. So on Fridays, I'm going to be in the Zoom session, and you can come, and if something doesn't make sense, or if you're curious, or if you have another idea that you want to run past me, please absolutely join me at any time. Drop in and we'll talk. It might be just one of you, it might be a group of you. I don't know who's going to show up on Friday, right? But whoever does, we will have that discussion, and we will talk. On Monday, I'm seeing that as more of a one-on-one, because sometimes, you want to discuss things that shouldn't be public, and you just want to have kind of time to have a private conversation. That's fine too. And so on Monday, I also have time blocks where you can just request an appointment with me through Teams. And if that time that you requested works, I'll just accept. If it doesn't work, I'll request that we do it at a different time, but just throw a time out there that works for you, and we'll go from there. Okay. So that's kind of how we're gonna work. I am going to be posting these recordings on YouTube, on our YouTube channel for the live meetings, not for the Monday and the Friday, just for these live meetings. So if you are for some reason unable to make it, you can still catch up and watch and get the announcements if you need them. Okay. Any concerned questions at this point, ideas, anything else? Okay. So we've talked about kind of completion and how do you do your work for this course and where the learning is going to happen. There's also going to be the graded component. So the graded component is going to come in a couple of ways. So first of all, you know, you do need to stay on top of the course at some point, even if it's, you know, you're a couple of days late, you do. So completion counts, completion of these activities does count toward your grade. But let me share the screen again with you and show you where the rest of your grade will come from. So if we go to syllabus, which is linked on your Teams page, you will see, and I showed you briefly this whole bunch of information, right? There's the Zoom meeting link if you ever lose it, it's there. So let's look at our grading. So this lecture video responses and course related tasks and discussions. So this lecture video responses is Edpuzzle, pretty much. Tasks and discussions are those, you know, check boxes and assignments. Those are just for completion, and those are weekly. Video explanations, written assignments, and mathematical problem sets are going to be where I actually look for your understanding of the subject matter of the pedagogical understanding and all of that. Okay, so you will be submitting 10 discrete things to me for content grading. Okay, so just a second. Yeah, kiddo. Yeah, sure. So the video explanations are going to be, I might ask you a question or give you a problem or ask you to give you an idea that you need to explain. And what you would do is you take your phone or your computer or whatever and record your explanation. Verbal explanations. So sometimes that would mean that you're actually looking at the computer and speaking. Sometimes all you need to do is introduce yourself and then you can show your work, right? So you can just show what your hands are doing or your writing or however you want to do it. It's up to you. There's lots of different ways. And if you're struggling with technology, just reach out and I'll explain it. Well, I'll support you through it. So there'll be 6 of those in the semester where I'm going to ask you to actually explain something. There will be 2 written assignments. The written assignments, so all of these I want to make as relevant to your teaching as possible once you get out to the classrooms. So written assignments will be things that you will need to be doing. They'll be in forms of letters. So the first written assignment is going to be a letter to parents that I'm going to ask you to write. So, you know, and some letters in the past have been, you know, communicate to parents the importance of problem solving and how they can support their children at home on problem solving. Okay, and you have to write a letter to parents describing that. So you know, those kinds of things. I haven't yet finalized the topic for it for you guys, but the idea that it's going to be a letter to the parent is fine. Another letter is going to be either to a mentor or to a peer who disagrees with you. So it's on something. So it's going to be another one of these where you're going to be trying to make an argument to somebody who is in writing. So, and finally, the mathematical problem sets are, the best way to think about those is untimed take-home test. Okay, so the midterm and the final, I don't see that as professional teachers you will ever be put in a situation where you'll have 8 problems to solve in 90 minutes. So I don't think that's an authentic way to see your understanding or your knowledge. So instead, I will create a set of questions which might look like a midterm and give you a full day to get those done for me, and you know, they're open book. You can't work on those together, but they're open book, and then get those back. And one is going to be happening somewhat during midterm time, and the other one is going to be happening during finals time. Okay, so each one of these, the video explanations, the written assignments, and the mathematical problem sets, will then be scored, graded based on subject matter knowledge and pedagogical content knowledge. Okay, and that's one of the reasons I want you to be reading that article about this MKT egg. Looks like an egg. You'll see that one in the article, and understanding kind of what we're looking for in each one of these aspects. So questions on that? Everybody pretty good? All right. So with any of these kinds of assignments, you know, with the problem sets, as I said, I'd like them individually, but done individually. But in terms of the letters and in terms of the video assignments, I am very happy if you guys reach out to each other and say, could you just look this over, or could you edit this, or could you, you know, just make sure I didn't misspell anything, those kinds of things. But please do cite whoever helped you, like in acknowledgments or something, thanks to, you know, Jasmine for reading and proofreading this letter or something like that, right? Sorry, Jasmine, I'm picking on you. So does that make sense? So please do reach out, and because I'd rather read something that's been proofread, proof checked by somebody than not. And I'd rather you feel comfortable about what you're handing in. But we do need to cite whoever effort went into it. Okay. All right. Good. Anything else in terms of that? Is that a little bit more clear kind of about how the course is going to go? Okay. Because I know beginning first week was just a lot of technology stuff to get settled, and then things were a little bit chaotic, but okay, so things are a bit more clear, I hope. And we talked about grading, we talked about meeting, and we talked about the STEM week. So right now I'm going to open things up for kind of any questions. Normally, once we come back from a week of content, this is the time when I'll be putting you guys into small groups to discuss things, to answer some questions, et cetera, et cetera. But today, I just want to make sure that we're at a good starting point here and we're ready to dive into the tasks. So let me know if there are anything that doesn't quite make sense yet, or anything else that you're finding. Oh, the other thing is, at any time, if another professor in another course, you're doing something that's really works and really cool, I love those things. So let me know. Okay, so I love to do things better. So let me know. But so the floor is yours. Can you hear the stuff that my son is doing? Can you tell what it's, no? Okay. You can? Dangerous chemicals or something? I don't know. He's watching some educational videos. So, all right. Okay, so if you guys are good and you know what you're doing, you think you're all set, that's great. If at any point you hit a glitch, let me know by chat or any other way, and we'll make sure that you're back on track. And make sure that if you're interested in the STEM outreach work, let me know by the end of the week. Okay. And oh yeah, and the course, the how to learn math for students course, right? That's also due this week on the 13th. So if you just don't forget that, that's been on for a while, but don't forget that one. Okay. All right. Okay, so if you don't have any questions, I will see you guys next week. If you do, feel free to hang around and chat. And otherwise, have a good week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.